first in the series of boys basketball action produced by Montague High School Productions this night. Beside me is Dale Schrader. Dale, welcome back to the booth. We should have some exciting basketball action here tonight. The Spartans come into the contest with an even 500 record. They're 4-4, 2-3 in the league. The Wildcats, on the other hand, are 4-1 in the league and 7-1 overall. But you can never tell about league action, especially between the Wildcats and the Spartans. Going back several years, the Spartans have been one of our biggest nemesises.
Well, Mason County always has a strong team. They're very sound fundamentally. This year's league, of course, is very well balanced. Every team has at least one loss, and so every game is an important game as we're just about into the midway of the season.
Well, Dale, it's interesting to note, I think we have some league statistics up here, and on the court tonight at one time will be 5 of the 10 leading field goal percentage shooters in the entire league, both from Mason County and Montague, of course. That's Lindquist, Dumas, Anderson, Schlaff, and Webb. And so we should see some real accurate shooting, I would think.
Well, of course, shooting is a very important part of the game, but I think that as is the case with Montague, and I'm sure Mason County feels the same way, the defensive end dictates what you do on the offensive end. So we'll see how the game gets started and see how well they're playing on the defensive end. But, of course, it's nice to know that we've got some good shooters out there.
I think you mentioned a real key point, Dale, because the offense is about even. If you look at the team statistics, Montague is scoring at a clip of about 73 points a game. Mason County just three points back of that at 70. However, in the defense, that's where Montague shows a big edge, and that's been a characteristic of the Wildcats over the last several years. They hustle on defense. They're among the league leaders in steals every year.
Well, the aggressive attack type style of play that they have here in Montague certainly creates a lot of turnovers and makes for a lot of easy baskets during the course of a season and a game. And I think we'll see more than our share again tonight. And sometimes that's an indication of the field goal percentage too on those easy layups.
Right. If statistics are any indication, Dale, Montague holds the edge in points per game scored in terms of offensive defensive balance. Montague is giving up only 52 points a game, scoring 73, whereas Mason County Central is giving up 66 points a game and scoring only 70. So we hold a big advantage in that category, and it'll be interesting to see what that holds for tonight.
I did not see the game on Tuesday night here, Larry, against Pentwater, but from what I've heard from several people, that was one of the best games Montague has played at home in a long time, putting both parts of the game together, offense and defense.
You're absolutely correct, Dale. I believe the score was something like 83-44, 81-44, somewhere in that neighborhood. You know, the Wildcats are 7-1 overall, but some of those games they've had to struggle to come out on top, at least for two quarters or maybe 3/4 of the game.
Right.
And so the Pentwater game finally seemed to be the one where we put it all together for an entire game. And the Pentwater team was a good team in Class D. They're ranked in the top 25 in the state, receiving honorable mention, just like the Wildcats.
That's correct. Pentwater always has good basketball teams, and I can recall a couple of years ago when we played up there, there have been some exciting games in Pentwater, and I'm sure Jim was glad to see his team put together such a good game. Again, as we head into a real important part of our season with Whitehall coming up on Tuesday night after tonight's game.
Well, Dale, you mentioned exciting games, and going back to last year, right here at Montague High School, we had a very exciting game, if you recall, against the same Mason County Central Spartans. In that game, the game was tied with, I believe, something in the neighborhood of 21 seconds left, and the Wildcats had their work cut out for them all night in that contest. The Spartans had been ahead most of the time, as a matter of fact. Wildcats tied it up late in the contest, and we're going to go back and just see a little clip of this. If you'll watch, fans, we'll remember with about 21 seconds left, the Wildcats had the ball out of bounds in front of their own bench. Ball was thrown in to Eric Webb and passed around a few times until late in the contest, with under 10 seconds remaining. Matt Cotter takes a shot from far outside on the court, misses. Lindquist was no good with the rebound, and then the controversy started. Doug Schloff tipped the ball in at the buzzer, and the question, as you'll see, is, was the shot good or not? And of course, the Wildcat fans thought it was, and perhaps the Spartans and Coach Shriver thought not. But let's go back and see this. And I think if you'll count, fans, when Eric Webb gets the ball from inbounds, count down from about 21, 23 seconds, something like that. I believe there's a countdown later on in the broadcast. Let's take time to watch that clip right now.
Has also done a nice job at the line this year, and he's knocked 2 down tonight. He's perfect from the line. So those would be 3 players, I'm sure, that Coach Tate said that's the players we want the ball in the hand.
Eric Webb with the ball now. 20 seconds, 19. Webb. Back to Rob Smith. Lindquist. Lindquist at the top of the key. 11, 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lindquist, low good. At the buzzer.
And it goes. It goes. They counted it. They counted it.
No.
No.
Jeff. They're saying it doesn't count.
The back official, I think, overruled the lead official.
I think we're going to have to just wait and see what they conclude. I remember seeing a game like this, Hope and Calvin on Channel 8 TV not long ago. And the officials conferred briefly and then made the ruling that the shot had not counted.
That's right.
61-all is still on the scoreboard. We'll just have to wait and see what happens here. They're conferring at the score table with the timekeeper, Mr. Ken Diamond, Art Keel there.
And the outside official said it was in. The man underneath the basket called it no good. So they're going over to confer with the clock and see if the buzzer actually did go off. And it's going to be a 2-point basket.
Wildcats are going to win a close one here, Jeff, 63-61, as Doug Schloff, perhaps with the most important field goal of his career, makes it a 2-point victory for the Wildcats, 63-61.
Well, Dale, we saw it once again there. An exciting conclusion indeed. And what do you think?
I think it was good.
Good call, Dale. Well, now we'll see what's good on the court tonight. Let's go down to courtside for pregame festivities as we're about to have the playing and the singing of our national anthem on the court. Fans, that was Renee Witzke, Scott Lindquist, David Cole, and Tara Gray singing the national anthem. Of course, that national anthem was preceded this evening by a moment of silence in honor of our servicemen and women who are serving so nobly and gallantly this very minute in the Persian Gulf. And now for the starting lineups for the Spartans, number 10, Ryan Dumas, a senior, 5'6". Number 22, another senior, Jeff Glamsey, 6'3". Number 44, Mike Weinert, 6'4", another senior. Number 50, Jason Belahowski, 5'8", senior. And another senior, number 54, Brian Anderson, 6'4". All senior starting lineup for the Mason County Central Spartans. And now for the Montague Wildcats, number 30, Eric Webb. Number 20, Scott Lindquist, junior. 2 guards. Senior guard, number 34, Doug Schlaff, 6'4". Starting at forward, Matt Cotter, senior, number 54, going to Duke next year. And at the other forward, number 32, Ryan Anglem, another senior. Wildcats are coached by Mr. Jim Tate, and the Spartans coached by Mr. Wally Sadasti. Well, Dale, if experience counts for anything on the floor as we start this contest, the Spartans hold a slight edge with 5 seniors.
I really don't think that's going to matter a whole lot, Larry, at least in this sense, because, of course, we have a couple of players who have played 3 years on the varsity, and Scott Lindquist, of course, this is his 2nd year in the varsity already, so I'm not sure that really matters. It certainly is a very, very slight edge, if any.
You're right, Dale. I think you're right. The Spartans also have 3-year varsity players in Dumas, Glamsey, and Belahowski. Now we're set for the tip-off.
We really size up very well with them, Larry, as I was looking at the sheet of the statistics concerning them and our starting lineup. So we'll most likely start out in our man-to-man, which we have.
Dumas over to the right side, looking underneath, back out on top. Rotating offense, man-to-man defense. Nice ball movement by the Spartans with their first possession. Basket is up, no good, and the ball comes off to the Wildcats. Lindquist dribbles down the left side court. Underneath it goes to Cotter. Good pass and a nice basket by Matt Cotter.
2 beautiful things happened there. A great pass by Scott underneath the mat, and then Matt putting a nice fake on before he put the ball up on the board.
Pressure defense as always from the Wildcats. Dumas, Ryan Dumas, an experienced senior coming across. Nice defensive play that time by the Wildcats. Breaks up the Spartan offense. Mike Weinert back to Dumas. Dumas, the playmaker, the point guard, setting up the play. Glamsey, number 22 with the shot, no good. Nice smooth move by Glamsey. You remember the name Glamsey from many years ago too, Dale. Seems like there's always a Glamsey on that Mason County Central team.
Nice steal that time by number 50, Jason Belahowski.
Lindquist driving inside, trying to pass back out, lost the ball. Dumas, Glamsey once more, inside it goes. Turnaround jumper, no good, falls short. And it's going to come back out to the Spartans, but double dribble is the call. So we're now even in turnovers too, Dale, 1 apiece. That's a key factor in basketball, of course, and the Wildcats hold a tremendous advantage in that category as well for the season. They have almost 2.5.
Nice pass again by Matt Cotter. Doug Schlaff fighting for the rebound. He's
beautiful hustle that time. Doug just doesn't give up. Makes it 4-zip with 6:10 remaining in the first quarter. Over the timeline. Underneath it goes. Long pass down to Weinert. Up and good. So, that's Brian Anderson breaking the plane for the first time for the Spartans. Eric Webb setting the play up. Loses it momentarily. Picked up by Ryan Anglem. Ryan looking inside. Takes the outside jumper. Up. Not quite good. Doug Schlaff on the inside position. The official says that he stepped out of bounds. And so the Spartans put it into play. underneath the Wildcat basket. Turnover on the part of the Wildcats there. I mentioned, Dale, the Wildcats have almost 2.5 more steals than their opponents for the season. They have 126 versus 54 for their opponents, so that's an amazing statistic.
Yes, it is.
Indicative of the tight defense that the Wildcats use all the time.
It certainly is an amazing
Dumas.
statistic.
Underneath it goes. Taken by Matt Cotter. Cotter off the glass. No good.
Good hustle by Matt. Nice move
Gets his own
inside.
rebound. And the Spartans come up with the ball that time. Matt Cotter certainly is an improved player, much improved player this year, Dale. Wildcats come up with the loose ball.
I think you've hit on something, Larry. I really think the improvement of Matt Cotter is one of the keys to this team this year and how well they've done. His strength in the middle has really made a difference.
Ball's rotated to Anglem, back to Webb. Out to Anglem. Anglem throws it off the leg of Glamsey, number 22, and it'll be out of bounds to the Wildcats. Anglem getting a rest now. You know, at the beginning of the year, Dale, it was hardly imaginable that Ryan Anglem would play at all, let alone as much as he has. Yes. He's done an excellent job this year, coming back from a back injury, quite a severe back injury at that. Played him all summer long.
Hampered, I think, somewhat by it, but you're correct. The mere fact that he's out there is a real positive sign.
That's for sure. Dumas. Shot was no good by Jason Belahowski.
Going to have a foul underneath the basket there, Larry. I think number 54 is going to be called for that foul. That's Brian Anderson. That's his first foul.
Wildcats are going to put the ball in play underneath the Spartan basket. 4:18 remaining. The score remains 4 for the Wildcats, 2 for the Spartans. Webb with the ball. Top the key over to Tate, who's come in for Lindquist. Tate from a three-point range. Good!
Big basket.
Brad Tate, son of Coach Tate, with a three-pointer from the outside. Brad's got one of those on Tuesday night against the Falcons of Pentwater as well. Mason County Central left-hand side basket by number 44,
Mike Weinert.
Mike Weinert. Webb coming up for the Wildcats.
So far, Larry, I've been real impressed with how fast Mason County's reacting to get back on defense.
Nice baseline shot by Matt Cotter. 9-4 Wildcats. Spartans back quickly this time. Underneath, Brian Anderson can't hang on to it. Glamsey picks it up and puts it in.
You know, they're moving that ball up the court pretty fast. Mason County's done that several times already, and got a good shot off on that one too.
Glamsey was right in the right spot to pick off that what was really an errant pass. Eric Webb from the outside with his first bucket of the night.
Well, that's why Eric Webb is 10th in the conference, Larry, in field goal percentage, shooting just under 50%.
Ball goes out of bounds, be put back in play by the Spartans. Lindquist back in to spell Webb. One thing you'll note all night long, as usual, folks, is that the Wildcats rotate their players quite well. Jeff Glamsey misses the easy dog shot, and it's going to be a foul underneath by Cotter as Glamsey went up for the follow shot and was fouled.
That's what you call a good foul, Larry. He had an easy dog shot, which he missed, and then got his own rebound, and I'm sure he would have put it up and not missed the second time, but Matt fouled him.
It's his first personal in the team's
That was an excellent
first.
play off and out of bounds. Taking it out on the backcourt side, and someone broke up the court right under the basket.
Glamsey good on the first of the two. He's the 74% shooter from the line, and he's also their leading scorer, Dale, averaging almost 17 points per game.
Well, he does have a nice touch.
Well, he does. Very smooth moves and good touch. Brad Tate bringing the ball over the timeline. Looking inside for Ryan Anglem, goes right on through, and the Spartans put the ball in play. I don't think Ryan Anglem was expecting that from the outside right there.
No, he wasn't.
Dumas coming across. 3-on-3 break, stops, puts it up, no good, and Schlaff gets the rebound. Doug Schlaff, an excellent rebounder, had 12 against the Pentwater Falcons. Underneath to Tate. Back out to Schneider. Lindquist looks left. Brings it across the top. Lindquist looking inside. Dribbles left. Back out to Schneider. Back to Lindquist inside to Englum. Schneider. No good. Lindquist with the rebound. No good. And the Wildcats lose the ball on the rebound. Good ball movement that time, but nothing to show with it.
Real good patience, Larry. I'm impressed with that so far. They didn't get the second shot down that time, but there was good movement and very patient.
Wildcats lead 11-8 with 1:47 remaining in the first quarter. Foul is going to be called against number 44, Mike Weinert, as he tried to go after the ball that the Spartans had lost. First foul on Weinert, the team's second, and the Wildcats put it back into play. Again, players being rotated by the Wildcats coaches. Tate and Schlaff inside, back out to Englum. Lindquist on top, inside to Cotter. Turnaround jumper is blocked, but it's going to be a foul. Number 54, Brian Anderson.
That's going to be his second foul, Larry, and from what I can tell, I think that's going to be the key if they can get that ball inside and work those big men inside a little bit, get some fouls on them. They haven't been able to get the ball to Doug yet tonight, and that's I don't believe Doug has scored.
Yes, he had that one on the
right.
rebound underneath.
One on the rebound.
Matt Cotter sinks the free throw. He is the leading free throw shooter among the starters. 76% of his free throws have gone in, and he adds to that total. He's made 21 on the season so far. Spartans to the baseline. Inside it goes to... Good shot there by number 44, Weinert, and the assist goes to number 50, Jason Belahowski. 13-10 with 1:11 remaining. Lindquist picks up the loose ball. Over to Webb. Webb inside, look. Back out to Englum. No good from the side. Well, it's going to be knocked out of bounds by the Spartans. Brian
Anderson, I believe, hit that one out, 54.
Yes, that's right, Brian and Anderson. Englum from the outside. No good once more. Follows his own shot off the back. No good. Schlaff, good. Another rebound and basket by Doug
There's
Schlaff.
an example of offensive rebounding, Larry. We had 4 shots. Oh, it looked like he walked, but I guess they didn't see it.
We're going to have the ball going out of bounds to the Spartans.
Well, I tell you, Larry, they sure move the ball up court fast. They remind me of us.
That's true. That's true.
So far, that press of ours has not been bothering them at all. Showing awfully good. Well, as soon as I say it.
Steal by Webb. Basket by Webb. 4 points for Eric Webb on the night. 17-10 Wildcats with 30 seconds left in the first quarter. Glamsey, Belahowski, left-handed dribble. Driving the paint. Loses the ball. Oh, comes out underneath, but we're going to have a 3-second call as the ball goes down. That's kind of a tough one, Dale, but I think the official was right, actually.
I think he was. They ruled that Jason Belahowski had never lost control of the ball, and thus the 3-second call continues on. Or I should say the 3-second count continues on, and finally the call was made.
Eric Webb with 9 seconds left. Englum on top. Webb. 3-point shot by Webb, outside, no good. Doug Schlaff with the rebound and pushes it back up at the end of the quarter.
I think there may have been a foul called at the end of that quarter, Larry.
Yes, there was. Sure. You're right, Dale. On the shot, there was a foul called, I believe. Well, I'm not sure now.
I believe so. I think they're going to call it.
I think there was. We'll have to just wait and see, fans, whether or not we have.
I think he's going to shoot too.
Nice thought that time by Doug. He didn't go back down with the ball. He just pushed it up off the rebound, Dale. And
that's
as a result,
correct.
We're going to draw the foul at the buzzer. Doug Schlaff, good on the first.
There's that
18
good
to 10.
soft touch, Larry. Hit the front of that rim and bounces up, hits the board and back in.
And good on the second. Schlaff, 75% free throw shooter on the year. Good for the first 2 of the evening. Well, Dale, at the end of the first quarter, the score is Montague 19 and the Spartans 10. And the Wildcats had their hands full that quarter, Dale. We scored 19 points, but they weren't easy points.
I was going to say, I'm not sure we were 9 points better that quarter. It seems that it should be a whole lot closer than that. I think we maybe have scored the last 4 or 5 points, so that's where the difference comes in. But so far, I've been real impressed with how well Mason County is handling our press. They're breaking it with relative ease. They've had a couple of easy baskets. And I guess the difference maybe is in the number of turnovers that there have been so far. I think the Spartans have turned the ball over just a little bit more than Montague.
Interesting observation, Dale. The Wildcats scored 17 in the first quarter against the Pentwater Falcons on Tuesday night, come back with 19 on Friday. I think we have had as many as 26 points in a quarter this season, so it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. We're almost set to go back to the floor for action. There we are. Eric Webb back to the top. Mark Schneider. Lindquist from the right baseline. Oh! I think the luck of the Irish or the luck of the Swedish or somebody was with Scott that time.
Oh, that was an awfully nice steal by Scott, but they called a foul off the ball on Eric Webb, I believe.
I think that's his first foul, the team's fourth, and it is Eric Webb that draws the personal. A little time on the floor to wipe up the perspiration. 21-10 as the Wildcats score the first 2 of the second quarter.
Jamie Hooks is in the ballgame for Montague, giving Doug Schlaff a break.
Jamie Hooks played well against the Pentwater Falcons, Dale. He got some real nice rebounds and some good shots. I think he scored 4 points, but had opportunity to score several more. Lindquist guarding closely down at the
oh, what a nice play by Scott.
We're going to have a foul, I think, as Lindquist goes up for the shot. He's fouled.
If he could have made that shot, he would have combined the best of both worlds. Fantastic defensive play, combined with a steal, bringing it all the way down and taking the ball all the way to the hoop. Missed the shot, but he's going to be at the line with 2. Nice play on both ends.
Lindquist is the 10th leading free throw shooter with 72% in the league. And Dale, I think it's interesting to note that we have 4 of the top 10 slots in that category among the Wildcats. Mark Schneider is just absolutely fantastic at 90% for the season, 18 of 20, leads the league. And then Connor, Schlaff, and Lindquist also have top 10 positions. Dumas underneath. No good as a shot. That's the second one of that nature they've missed. Dale, kind of an open.
I think they're hearing footsteps under there, Larry. We've seen them miss.
Schneider misses from the outside.
I think Mark would like to have that shot back, Larry.
I think you're right. I thought maybe it might have been tipped slightly.
I think it was. Good observation.
The foul is called on Eric Webb, I believe, underneath the Spartan basket on the shot by Dumas. And Brad Tate's going to come in to spell Eric, I would guess, yes.
I don't know of anybody who touches that floor more than Eric. It seems like he's
right.
on that court,
That's
not just
right.
with his feet, but he takes some spills. He just took another one there.
Tate with the ball.
A good tip
Turnover.
again by, it's hard to say who tipped that ball to bring up the steal.
Tate with a 3-point shot, no good from the outside this time. And we're going to have a white is the call. So the Spartans put it into play as it goes off from Doug Schlaff. Dumas with the ball. Underneath, Ryan Anderson back out on top. Right-hand baseline drive, no good. Tipped back out to Glamsey. Glamsey with a nice move to the paint and a nice smooth shot. Dale, I'm so used to seeing that shot after all these years, I can almost see it in my sleep after we play these games.
You know, that reminds you of Doug Schlaff, too, with that left-handed move.
It really does, you're right. Lindquist at the top, from the outside, no good, off the back of the rim. And Brian Anderson gets the rebound. Dumas, slow to bring it across. 5:56 remaining, 22-12 Wildcats. Glamsey into the paint once again. Up it goes. Nice drive that time. Paint drive. Basket's going to count, and he's going to be at the line.
Well, that was a good offensive move, and he saw the opening down the lane and took advantage of it, and no one stopped him from Montague. And he's going to be at the line to shoot another one with the basket already counting. So we're down to an 8-point lead, Larry, having it as high as 12.
Remember, Glamsey made 2 the last time he was at the line. He makes this one. 3 in a row from the line for Glamsey. Tate bringing it across for the Wildcats. Schneider, top Lindquist. Back to Brad. Looking inside. They really have Doug Schlaff pinned in nicely underneath.
Yes. That was an observation I was just going to bring up, that Doug has been contained inside. I'd say very effectively so far.
Lindquist got the basket on the outside shot. Doug Schlaff with the foul. That was probably another one of those good fouls, if there is such a thing, Dale, because although I don't know, they've missed 2 or 3 right underneath the basket tonight.
I think Jim's probably concerned at this point with the ease in which they're penetrating and getting that ball underneath. That's at least the 3rd or 4th time where they've had a pass get underneath there. And so I'm sure he's going to want to shore that up underneath. Doug's going to take a break, and Jamie Hooks is back in for him. We have 5:20 left here in the second quarter. 24-15.
Well, one more attempt for the Spartans from the line as the first one falls harmlessly. That one doesn't, however. So Mike Weinert brings the Spartans back by 1, and now they trail by 8 once more. I think maybe Coach Tate is going to try and have some outside shooting here. If you think about it, Dale, they've been working the ball around outside, trying to get the outside shot, thinking perhaps that the Spartans might have to come out of that zone defense and give Schlaff a little time on the inside to work.
Well, it's hard to fault your words, Larry, because exactly what you were talking about just happened. They worked it around a little bit. Scott got free for just a second for a 3-pointer, and we're back up by 11 again.
Mike Weinert, turn around. Nice drive that time to the paint. Good move by Weinert. Nice strong move. 9-point lead. Eric Webb. 2-on-2 defense by the Spartans has really clogged up that middle.
I think you're right, though, Larry. I don't see how they can possibly stay in that for much longer because...
Great move by Eric Webb. Dale, how does he do that, number one? Then he gets his own rebound high and just can't quite get it to drop, but draws the foul.
I think Eric had to be in the air 5 seconds there.
At least.
He was... He weaved his way through a couple of defenders and put up a good shot, got his own rebound, put it up again, and then got it again and was fouled. So if you work hard at it, they say good things will happen to you.
Eric had an excellent game against the Pentwater Falcons. He made, as I recall, yes, he only missed 1 shot last Tuesday night, 6 of 7, 86% almost from the floor, and now he sinks that one from the line. He's shooting 67% from the free throw line for the year. But Eric is a worker. Look at him go right there. Just, you can't hardly...
there's a good example of how that trap and that pressure defense.
And we're going to have a foul called here. I think it's going to be Eric back to the line, Dale.
Yes, it is.
The foul is called, I believe, a number 34. I think that's his 3rd personal. Dave Rabine.
Those slipped by me, Larry. I didn't realize.
I didn't either, really.
He had been in there, and he had the third foul there.
Dave Rabine, the son of Jack Rabine, I believe, the elementary principal in Scottville.
And their football coach.
Former athletic director at the middle school. Eric makes 2 in a row there. Last attempt from before, and 2 now, so that's 3 in a row from the line. Matt Cotter back into the game for Jamie Hooks. And the Wildcats keep rotating those 8 players in and out, and that's helped them greatly throughout the last several seasons, Dale. They just have excellent depth.
Well, we know another team that has a famous 8 players that's a little bit to the east of us here in Detroit.
Yes, that's right.
That's been a real sign of Montague's strengths the last 3 or 4 years, to have that accessible bench right there ready to go to when you need to.
If it works for the Pistons, it ought to work for us, right?
That's right.
Turnaround shot, no good. Eric Webb can't quite get the rebound. There he does,
There he
however.
does.
Shortest man on the floor for the Wildcats, and he's got the rebound. Scott Lindquist now. Ryan Anglem with the left-hand drive. Lindquist from
Put it up,
three-point
Scott.
range.
Yeah.
Good! That's 2 3-pointers for Scott Lindquist from the outside now. Makes it a 15-point lead, the biggest of the night for the Wildcats. 3:12 remaining in the first half, 33-18.
Well, and as you said, don't want to beat a dead horse here, but the outside shooting of Montague has really made the difference tonight.
Glamsey with the inside move. Nice assist from the outside. I'm not sure who that was. Was it Dumas? I'm not sure who the assist was, but it was nice.
Dumas gets the assist.
Tate, Lindquist looking inside. Across it goes
Nice
to
pass
Cotter.
to Cotter.
Cotter, nice move on the inside, but loses control, and the Spartans pick it up. Good look inside that time by Scott Lindquist, but they can't convert. Lead is 13. Rabine to Dumas. And I think we're going to have a foul on Brad Tate. Brad Tate trying to take the baseline move away from Dumas and can't quite get the step ahead that he needed that time.
Both sides have been in the bonus, and free throws play such an important part in any game, at any time in the game.
Dumas is going to be at the line when we come back after this timeout. Dumas is one of the leading free throw shooters in the league, too. He's the second leading scorer at 82% almost for the season. So he has a good chance, I would say, to bring the Spartans back within 11. Well, Dale, if you think about it, the Wildcats scored 19 points that first quarter. They've scored 14 thus far this quarter. But it just seems to me that this quarter has been a better quarter for the Wildcats. And, of course, they have 2.5 minutes to score 4 more points, shall we say, to get to the same level. But
right, and I think, as you recall, the end of the first quarter, we scored a couple of buckets right there at the end, and I think that got us in a little bit of a flow. And they've continued on here in the second quarter, have been up as high as 15 points, I think, was the highest lead that they've had. And they've really controlled the action here in the second quarter.
Right, you are. Interesting, Dale, you mentioned in the pregame remarks that this is a pretty evenly balanced league this year, at least at the top, and that certainly is true. Each of these teams has at least one loss, like you mentioned, but it's also important to note that so do some other teams, Shelby and Whitehall particularly.
Correct, and Mason County, one of their big wins was against Whitehall, of course, a couple of weeks back, I believe, and that's created a logjam in the middle of the pack, and it's not that far from the top of the pack. There's only one loss that separates the 2 top teams in the league from the 4th place team. So I'm sure Jim is thinking that. Well, there's a good block there, but it was an excellent pass.
Nice pass by Eric, you bet. Good court sense that time by Eric.
Jim's philosophy, I'm sure, is that we've got to take one game at a time, and every game is a big game for us. So
Lindquist knocks the ball out of bounds, and it'll be Scottville ball on the near sideline. Belahowski coming back in for Rabine. Glamsey to inbounds the ball. Schneider coming into the Wildcat lineup for Tate. Dumas puts it into the paint for Weinert, back out on top. There's Belahowski, left-handed senior. Glamsey, left-handed senior. Nice steal that time by Ryan Anglem. Good hustle down court. Stayed right with it, got the rebound, and I think he's going to get a 2-shot attempt at the line, Dale.
I think he is too. He made a nice movement to stop there and forced number 44, Mike Weinert, to make a defensive move, and just couldn't get the bounce off the backboard, but he'll be there for 2 shots.
The foul is called on Dumas, his second. Anglem, good on the first. It's his 7th conversion from the line for the year. 1:48 remaining, a 12-point lead for the Wildcats. Now a 13-point lead. Remember, we're up to 15 a while ago, but the Wildcats seem to have been more in control this quarter. And we've got the ball back on top. Belahowski to Dumas.
Still very impressed how fast Mason County broke that mini press.
They've handled it better than almost any other team we've played thus far this year. Nice.
Oh.
Well, I think we're going to have a nice attempt at least. I almost said something I shouldn't have, Dale, perhaps, but it looked like a clean block on top from my vantage point. But it doesn't make much difference when I'm 50 feet or 100 feet away from the play.
Nor does it matter if you're only 20 feet from the court, as are most of the fans.
Mike Weiner at the line, one way or the other.
That looked like such a clean steal because Mark actually stripped the ball from him and took it right away from him and was headed down court, but they called a foul.
Weinert averaging almost 12 points a game for the Spartans, puts it in. He's a 6'4" senior, second year on the varsity, and has been a consistent player for the Spartans the last 2 years. Glamsey getting a well-deserved rest for the Spartans. 1:26 left with 11 points being the difference.
This has been a fast first half, in my opinion, Larry. I don't know if it just is me, but doesn't seem like the clock has stopped a lot.
No, you're right, Dale. It has gone quite quickly. Matt Cotter from Lindquist on the side goes over the top and out of bounds to the Wildcats. As
we give that back to the Wildcats off of number 44, Mike Weinert.
106, 35-24, Wildcats. Well, the Wildcats 7-1 on this season. Finished last year, remember, with a 20-3 record, so they're looking to move back up into that range again this year and have a good chance at it thus far. Lindquist driving the left baseline up. No good, off the back of the rim this time. Nice fight for the ball by Ryan Anglem and Dumas. No, excuse me, that's not Dumas. Number 20 is Chris Hatch. My apologies, Chris.
It's going to be Mason County's ball out of bounds on the possession rule.
There's Chris Hatch once again. Weinert. Hatch. Over the top it goes, and they cross the timeline. Melahowski at the top. Paint drive. Mark Schneider rebounds it. Schneider. Wildcats set up the play now. Wildcats have been very patient tonight, and it's been a demand that they be patient. Nice turnaround by Ryan Anglem.
It's a difficult shot by Ryan. He got it down. Give Montague a 13-point lead. There's a pass underneath again.
Spartans cannot convert, and Lindquist comes out with the rebounds. At the end of the first half, sports fans, the score is Montague 37 and the Mason County Central Spartans 24. Well, Dale, the Wildcats didn't quite convert their first quarter scoring, lacking by 1, but I think they controlled the pace better in the second quarter than they did in the first, and have a comfortable margin at 13 points. But you were telling me before the game started, as a matter of fact, that when you were a senior or junior or something at Vicksburg, you were down by 12 points with 1 minute and 12 seconds remaining in the contest and came back to win by 1?
By 1, yeah. I believe if my memory's right. But so long ago, I can't remember.
Well, that's 13 points at any rate. So what I'm trying to say is that this 13-point lead with 16 minutes left is not safe.
No, a turnaround can happen so fast. It doesn't take a whole lot for a team to generate a couple of turnovers and to get a couple of three-point baskets. That can make a big difference in basketball now in high school. And so I'm sure Jim is satisfied with a 13-point lead at halftime, but rest assured when they come out in the third quarter, he's going to want to step up the pace, keep that intensity level going, and increase that lead even more.
Well, Dale, you mentioned the three-point basket. Let's just comment about it this evening a minute. We have 3 three-pointers so far. I believe 2 by Scott Lindquist and 1 by Brad Tate. That surely made a difference in high school basketball, as you said. And this year it's made a difference for the Wildcats. That's one category we don't seem to fare quite as well in. I think we've converted 13 versus 17 for our opponents. And you know, what do you think about the three-point basket in general?
You know, I think when the three-point basket rule came into play in high school and college, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now, I think it is already. I think there was a real concern by the purists in basketball that it was going to somehow damage the game and that it was going to have a negative effect, overall effect on the game. I don't think that's been the case at all. I think it's had a very positive effect on the game. I think it's created some more strategies that otherwise you wouldn't have seen come to play. I don't think it's weakened teams in learning how to play defense and putting, you know, emphasis on the defensive end of the court. And I haven't seen the three-point rule, you know, create some situations where kids have been making a lot of bad choices, a lot of bad shot selections. So I think, if anything, it's been a very positive effect on the game, and I'm real happy that it's in effect.
I think everybody's adjusted pretty well to it. It's probably as difficult for the coaches to adjust to that kind of thing as the players themselves. You know, it's maybe a little more glamorous in some cases to make that three-point shot, but on the other hand, the accuracy level is a little bit less. And the coaches, I think, have to think about, especially if it's a close game late in the contest, do you go for a three-pointer if you're down? Do you have to guard against a little more precariously if you're on the opposite side, etc.? And I know that. Excuse me, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I know that Coach Tate has indicated to me in the past that he had mixed emotions about it, but certainly it's been a big adjustment.
And I think that, you know, kids who play the game now, I don't think they go out there with the idea in mind, I'm going to shoot a three-pointer, I'm going to shoot a three-pointer. If it presents itself, and if it's a good shot, just like any other shot selection, I don't really see where that has made all that much of a difference in terms of offenses setting up or whatnot. I'm real positive about the you know, inclusion of that as a part of the game nowadays, and I think it's added a lot to the game, and I'm real happy that it's a part of college and high school basketball.
Let's take a look at the West Michigan Conference real briefly here, Dale, if we can. We know that Shelby lost to the Oak Ridge Eagles last Tuesday night, which was probably a surprise to some. I think the Eagles are like 6-4 at this point in time overall, something like that. But that proves one thing: you can never tell in this league about who might come out on top on any given night. We know that Whitehall lost to the Shelby Tigers by 1. We lost to the Shelby Tigers by 1, and Scottville, I think, lost to Whitehall in a close contest as well. So, what's your prediction? You got to be John Madden now. I'm going to ask you the John Madden question. What do you think, John?
I think that it doesn't matter what I think, but on the other hand, I would guess, and this is my own feeling, that the winner of the West Michigan Conference this year is going to have at least 2 losses. I'd be surprised if they didn't, and it could very well be that they would have 3 losses. I think it's that balanced. Shelby has to play Whitehall and Montague one time yet. Montague and Whitehall have to play each other twice yet. We have to play Oak Ridge yet. Whitehall has to play Oak Ridge again yet. So I don't think there's any, and Mason County has to play Whitehall and us again after tonight. So I don't think it's going to be surprising at all to see this league have the champion or co-champions have 2 or 3 losses. I think that's a very common possibility.
I think you're right. And you know that the Vikings are hungry. They tied for the league championship with the Wildcats last year. And we play the Vikings next Tuesday night, Dale, over at Whitehall.
Right.
I chuckle because it's just amazing how time and time again this seems to be the most important contest of the season, or at least among the most important contests, and you never know. It's kind of back and forth, back and forth. Everybody is anxious for the game. They're excited about the game. There's a huge crowd, no matter if it's in Whitehall or in Montague. And it's just an excellent rivalry between 2 good schools.
I know Jim Tate tonight before the game made a special point to talk to his team about the fact we can't think about Tuesday night. We have a ball game. We have 32 minutes to play tonight. And if you don't play well tonight, Tuesday night isn't going to matter, or it's not going to matter as much. So you can be assured that Jim's not letting anybody look ahead. And yes, I think you're right. The emphasis that's given to those games is so great but this game is just as important.
Okay, Dale, well, we have a few minutes remaining before the start of the second half, and I think we'll just sign off and give ourselves a little break at this point. Fans, we'll be right back for the start of the second half. Are you on your mic? Yep. Welcome back to Montague High School, sports fans. And as you can see, the Wildcats are leading 37-24 with exactly no seconds to go before the first half. It becomes complete history, and we start action in the second half. Dale, one of the keys, as you mentioned during the break there, was the fact that the Wildcats had some pretty good shot selection. Even though those shots sometimes came from the outside, they came from open men on the outside.
And the other point that I think is worth repeating or saying is that Montague is the type of team that doesn't have to look to one player. I think Mason County was very effective in the first half in containing Doug Schlaff, and yet Scott Lindquist and Eric Webb and Matt Cotter and the rest of them did a good job of picking up any slack that Doug didn't contribute in a sense, in terms of points at least, in that first half. I think Doug maybe ended up with 4 points, 2 or 4 points only in the first half.
I think you're right. Well, here we are.
Let's see if they try to get Doug more involved, though, in his second half. That'll be something that you can probably look for in the opening minutes here.
You have Webb, Lindquist, Schlaff, Cotter, and Anglem, who gets that rebound and puts it back up for the Wildcats. No good. Scottville off to the attack. Intercepted this time, stolen by Lindquist, who brings it back up court.
That's Scott's 4th or 5th steal tonight, I would predict. He's been very active in the defensive end and created some good turnovers.
Dumas, Belahowski, Glamsey out front, Weinert and Anderson underneath on the zone defense. Lindquist from the right baseline, no good over the top. Once again, I'm sure that Coach Tate has tried to open up the defense by those outside shots, and so far this half it hasn't paid the dividend. Left-hand baseline, up and good by the Spartans, by Belahowski, I believe that was, number 50. So the Spartans draw first blood in the second half and cut the lead to 11. Eric Webb inside to Cotter. Across the paint it went to Schlaff, up. No good, and that's Mike Weinert that came off with it was Anderson with the rebound. Outside shot, three-point shot by Belahowski.
Well, they've scored the first 5 points here now, and have gotten it down to an 8-point lead for Montague. We've had the ball in 3 possessions, haven't been able to convert.
And there's something psychological about that double-digit lead too, Dale. Let's hope the Wildcats can come back and at least get back to double digits from that standpoint. Cotter with the baseline drive across to Anglem, up, across the top. Schlaff with a nice power rebound. Shot, no good. Cotter fights for the ball, and then it's going to go off the Spartans to the Wildcats.
Well, we just didn't get the really good kind of shot we wanted down there. We put it up a couple of times, but we didn't have good angles at the basket.
Lindquist
just slipped out of
Squirted right out of his hand.
I think he had in his mind to pass to somebody and then changed his mind at the last second. The ball slipped out.
Well, so far nothing has gone right for Scott Lindquist this half, nor for the Wildcats. And so we'll see what happens. The Scottville Spartans, or Mason County Central Spartans, give us another chance, however, with a turnover of their own.
Mentioned during the halftime break, Larry, Jim wouldn't be satisfied with a 13-point lead because that can turn around so fast. We're down to 8 already.
Webb, Cotter at the baseline inside to Schlaff. Difficult shot. Back of the basket. Spartans come away with it.
That's not the shot that we really want. I think he'd like to have Doug try to move it back in towards the other side in the middle.
Wildcats with their
At
man-to-man.
this point in time, Larry, is just to work really hard on the defensive end.
Glamsey from three-point land. That's the second three-pointer of the second half for the Spartans, and now we're only up by 5. And Jim Tate takes I was just going to comment about that. Excellent call on the part of Jim Tate to get his troops reconnoitered, let's say.
Well, there have been 8 unanswered points, and just as we were saying so much about good shot selection the first half, a couple of times at least in the second half, I don't think Montague's gotten the kind of shot that they like. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it was an outside shot, but there have been a couple of shots way underneath that were not the best. But
Belahowski got 6 of those points, Dale, on 3-pointers, and I note that he's the 3rd leading three-point shooter in the league, with 54% of those shots dropping for him, 13 out of 24. That's an amazing statistic if you think about it. Dale, tell the folks, how far out is that 3-point line?
I believe it's 19 feet.
Okay.
Or it's close.
No, I think you're right, 19 feet, and Belahowski on that second 3-pointer was probably at least 21 feet away from the rim. And so, shooting 54% for the year, only 2 people ahead of him is just amazing.
It'd be interesting to see if they continue to go to him now. He seems to be in a little bit of a groove, and he's hit a couple here in the third quarter.
Webb from the top of the key, no good. Off from Doug Schlaff, and it's going to go over to the Spartans. So the Wildcats are getting only 1 shot at the basket, Dale. I think that's a real key thing for them to work on that offensive rebounding strategy a little bit. And of course, the Spartans, on the other hand, with that zone defense that they're putting into play, have good position opportunities. It's easier, perhaps, in some cases at least, off the zone than off the man-to-man to get that strategy position.
Montague stays in their man-to-man zone, or man-to-man defense. There he's shooting again.
Belahowski, short that time. We're going to have a foul underneath. I think it's going to be called on the
Mike
Spartans.
Weinert's going to get the foul.
Mike Weinert of the Spartans draws his second personal. It's the first team foul for either side in this half.
That could have been a big basket, Larry. That would have brought it down to 2 points. So
right you are.
That could be a big swing. Could be.
Lindquist. Schlaff on the inside from Webb is fouled as the shot goes up, and Schlaff will be at the Wildcat line. Schlaff's shooting 75% from the charity stripe on the season.
That's going to be the 3rd foul on Brian Anderson, and with 4:32 left here in the third quarter, I think Scottville will probably leave him in, but he is going to have to be somewhat more cautious.
Brian Anderson hasn't been a big scorer for the Spartans tonight. He's averaging a little over 8 points a game for the season, but he certainly has been an important factor underneath the bucket, Dale. He's had some nice rebounding.
Correct.
On the inside.
Oh, people may think that that player broke the plane there, and what a play by Scott Lindquist. Excellent defensive play.
Schlaff underneath to Englund.
Oh,
lots of good things happen here, Dan.
Oh, absolutely. And what we've talked about so often is how good defensive play will generate and contribute to a good offensive move, and that's exactly what happened. There it is again.
Nice hustle that time. Okay, another turnover.
Oh, I think you got to have a foul. Oh, no. I don't know how that.
Have a foul called on the Wildcats' Eric Webb, and if that's true, that'll be his 3rd personal, I believe, Dale. And that's exactly the call. I think that's his 3rd, yes. Well, Eric drove the paint and tried at the last minute to pass the ball off, but the Spartan was planted there.
Yep.
8-point lead with 3:59 remaining in this third quarter.
Montague really picked up the pace there, Larry.
Inside it goes to Anderson, and Matt Cotter is going to be called for an over-the-back foul, I believe.
Matt's 2nd foul.
You're right. Matt Cotter with his 2nd personal. That's the 2nd team for Montague. So both teams have picked up 2 personals in this half. Brad Tate into the Wildcat lineup. The foul is going to be called on Lindquist, I believe. Lindquist took the ball away from Mike Weinert that time, but fouled from the back in the process. 3rd personal.
I must have figured Scott couldn't possibly do that a 3rd time. Oh, that was.
Yeah, we're going to have Montague ball. Almost another steal by Doug. Scottville ball, I should say. 5 seconds will be the call, I believe, on that. So a turnover by the Spartans and unforced here.
You can just see Mason County getting a little bit frustrated. And that usually begins to happen, Larry, about this time of the game. Montague's just attack type of defense and pressure all the time really pays its toll in the third quarter.
Mark Schneider, left baseline, back out to Brad Tate. Schneider from just outside the three-point line. Schlaff.
Doug Schlaff's got about 3 guys chasing him all the time.
Lindquist from outside, no good from three-point land. And the ball comes off to Weinert. 40 to 32.
That was a good shot by Scott. That was a good shot. He's made a few of those tonight. But I'm real impressed, Larry, with how well Scottville's playing defense.
Oh, they're
real
doing an
impressed.
excellent job. That zone has just really been effective.
Montague has scored only 3 points in the third quarter.
And I think we're going to have a foul on the Spartans here.
I think that's going to be on Doug Schlaff.
On Doug Schlaff. That's his third. So now the Wildcats find themselves with 2 of their starters having 3 fouls each. Doug Schlaff and Eric Webb. Lindquist is replaced by Anglem. Belahowski. Dumas, 3 points. No good. And Matt Cotter had excellent rebounding position that time. Schneider to Doug Schlaff. Schneider once again. No good. Rebound with the rebound.
We've just lost our shooting touch right now for the last few minutes. But those are good shots, Larry. We should not...
Dumas. No, Belahowski, I'm sorry. Well,
yeah.
Anglem brings it back, and now we set up the offense.
You just have to be impressed with how scrappy Scottville's playing. They are really hustling.
I believe Coach Tate is putting his Wildcats in a 4-corner offense, Dale.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Trying to get the Spartans to come out of their zone. Matt Cotter with an excellent shot from the left baseline area. Nothing but net.
I'm sure Jim wants to get them out of that zone and have them play man-to-man. I don't really think they can stay with us man-to-man.
Glamsey with the ball on the right side. Baseline drive. Up, no good. And we're going to have a foul on Matt Cotter here. I believe that will be his third as well.
Now we're getting into the point in time where we get a little concerned. You have 3 or 4 players with 3 fouls, and I think we have 3 that have 3. Eric Webb, Doug Schlaff, and now Matt Cotter.
Lindquist back into the contest for Mark Schneider. 1:45 remaining, 42-32 is the score. And
Glamsey. Down to 5, haven't they, Larry? I think it was down to 5
I believe you're right. Yes, they did. Glamsey. I don't think he's missed a charity strike toss this evening, Dale. One more attempt.
He's hitting 74% from the line for the season, so.
Misses that one.
I think we heard a slap.
Yes.
Maybe not.
Brad Tate with the ball. 4-corner offense being reinstated here by the Wildcats.
I don't know how long he can stay in that zone. He's got to come out after him.
Doug Schlaff, front of the score table, in front of the bench. Patient offense here. Schlaff directing traffic. Minute 20 seconds left. Schlaff driving toward the paint. Back over to the side in front.
They have to come out and get him. They've got to be within 6 feet. Force the action. They're behind. Montague doesn't really have to. He's going to give him the warning here pretty quick. Oh, that's not a good.
Bad pass from the deep baseline area. Creates that turnover. So the Wildcats lose an opportunity there to run the clock down and score an easy basket someplace. And the Spartans convert by Brian Anderson. We said he had been rather silent on offense tonight, but that was an important basket for him and the Spartans. We have back to the 4 corners here. Now he's going to, Coach Tate is going to.
Boy, I'll tell you, they've just not made good passes.
Glamsey from the paint. No good. Lindquist can't control the rebound. Off the glass is Rabine. Good.
Now we're down to a 5-point lead with 10 seconds left in the quarter.
And I think that Coach Tate would just as soon put this one in the record books forever. Scott no good at the buzzer with the 3-point attempt. So the score at the end of 3 is Montague Wildcats 42, Mason County Central Spartans 37. An amazing turnaround, Dale. As you mentioned, the Wildcats had a great deal of difficulty scoring that quarter and picked up only 5 points, while the Spartans, for their part, were scoring 13.
Yeah, it's not that Mason County really played that much better than they have in the first 2 quarters. Montague just fell right off.
We couldn't find the open basket there, Dale. I mean, we've had that trouble from time to time throughout the year, and I remember last year, if you think about last year's games, the third quarter was often a problematic one for the Wildcats, and tonight has proven the same thing.
Well, you know, when you go into the locker room with a 13-point lead and having played fairly well, I think you come out and it's just real tough to keep that level of intensity up. And how often haven't we seen them play so well in the fourth quarter?
That's true.
They'll bounce right back and play, as bad as they may have played in the third quarter, they'll play equally well in the fourth quarter. So
you're correct, but you know what? I think that the Wildcats have been maybe somewhat troubled by the fact that the Spartans have stayed in that zone all night long. They're just used to the man-to-man perhaps more than the zone.
I think that's been a real troubling thing.
Rabine, Anderson, Dumas inside to Anderson, no good. Scott Lindquist with the rebound, gets it back to Anglem. And now Webb back into the lineup for the Wildcats.
It'll be interesting to see if he stays in that 4 corner. He's out of it already.
Yes, he is. We have, I think, officials timeout there as Doug Schlaff cut across the free throw line area. I think he slipped on some perspiration.
I think that's a real good call on the part of the official to stop play and to wipe the floor. So often we'll see somebody slip and they'll just continue on, even though that had no direct bearing on anything. It was a good call on the official's part to stop
You're
play.
right, Dale. I think it's good to know too. The officials have done a good job tonight. Called an excellent game, I believe.
Boy, they are fronting and coming from behind it, Doug. He just can't move.
Spartans.
They are playing excellent defense.
Absolutely great defense. Doug Schlaff with a nice move. Can't quite get it to go.
Now we had 2 people on the ball, and they're going to call that on Montague. Both Doug and Matt Cotter Scott
yes,
and
right.
Matt had the ball, and I don't think you ever criticize them in that regard because they're both hustling.
Both hustling after it, but creates a turnover for us, and the Spartans have a chance to get it down to 3, and can't make that happen, fortunately, if you're a Wildcat fan. 6:51 remaining, 42-37 remains the score.
Every time they've had a chance to cut it under 5, something like what just happened has occurred. They've thrown the ball away.
Right.
And so Montague's dodged bullets a couple of times. Maybe they can dodge one this time, too.
Cotter inside to Schlaff. Off the rim. Schlaff with the rebound. Up, no good. Lindquist controls the rebound.
Oh.
And I think he's going to be at the free throw line.
Well,
Anderson.
There's only one thing you can say there, and that's that Scott Lindquist kept it alive. He shot the ball 3 or 4 times there, and he was out hustling someone who was much bigger than him. And
Brian Anderson is 6'4", and Scott, I have a little personal experience with how tall he is. He stretches to reach 6'1".
And there was quite a weight difference there too.
Good from the line. 43, 37, 6:34 remaining in the contest. Scott sinks the second.
Maybe that'll get us going.
70% free throw shooter from the charity stripe for the season. Converts 2. Nice defensive hustle. Creates a turnover.
Exactly what we're talking about in creating the turnover.
Lindquist from Schneider. Scott's having difficulty on the outside there with his shots, the second half here especially.
As is everybody else for Montague.
That's true, I guess.
but they're hustling on defense.
Dumas, Glamsey, good from the paint.
Boy,
Corner of the paint.
He's hit a beautiful shot there again. As you said earlier, he has a very nice touch.
Back to 5, 44-39 with 5:49 remaining. Wildcats take that timeout. Well, Dale, we haven't seen the stats on the shooting percentage tonight, but in the second half, I think we'd be stretching it if we said the Wildcats were much above 35%, 40 at the most.
For the total game, I agree with you. We've scored 7 points in approximately 10 minutes, 11 seconds, and that's less than a point a minute. You're not going to win very many ball games if you keep that rate up. But it's just one of those things. Sometimes the ball drops, sometimes it doesn't. I think they've had good shot selection the last few times with possession, and they just haven't fallen. That's all. And in Scottville, you got to credit a lot of that to Scottville's ability to play good, tough defense. And a lot of those shots have not just been unobstructed.
Absolutely correct. Let's go back to that last defensive steal for the Wild. Fans, we're back. Sorry for that inconvenience. We have a score of 48-39 now, with Schlaff just putting it in, makes it 50-39, back to an 11-point lead for the Wildcats.
Maybe we should stay off the air.
I guess so. Dale, did you watch the contest while I was over at the camera?
Yes.
Can you give it a little synopsis here?
Well, I believe when we went off, we were up by 5. We did go to the line and shoot a couple of free throws, and that made it up to I think we made 1. That made it up to 6, and then we've gotten a couple of steals and brought it up to an 11-point lead. So we stand at 50-39 now with 4:42 left in the contest. But again, the defensive end has created the offensive excitement and has helped increase the lead.
Well, fans, we apologize for that inconvenience of loss of signal for a minute here. We had a problem with our camera, and it just created some difficulty for us. But we know that the Wildcats came back strong when we were off the air. As Dale said, we were up by 5, and now we have an 11-point lead, 4:42 remaining. And you mentioned it came off the defensive end. And I was just commenting about the steals. Webb is the leading stealer in the league, Lindquist second, and Cotter 10th. And I was commenting about Cotter and Webb teaming up for that nice steal. And we've seen that time after time all season long.
Well, and there for the first time tonight, Scottville hasn't had anybody back on those drives, so they have done very well tonight in getting people back.
Glamsey with the glass shot brings it back to 9.
The ball game, as far as I'm concerned, tonight.
He has indeed.
I'm sure he's in double figures.
Oh, absolutely. He's scoring 16 and almost 17 a game, and I bet he has those 16 tonight. Webb. Looking back to Lindquist.
They're still in that 2-3 zone defense and have not come out of it, although they are putting more pressure on the point.
2-1-2, but yes, that's right. They moved it up considerably. Wildcats are patient now, but
I'm sure that's what Jim was telling them. They have to create the action. All we need to do is hit the open man when they come to the ball.
I'm sure it was mentioned by Coach Sadasti, too, that he wanted to bring that zone press closer to the top. That time it was the Wildcats who missed the easy shot underneath.
Foul on Doug Schlaffler, I think.
I think so, over the back.
Over the back, yeah.
I believe that'll be his 4th personal.
Doug's going to have to really take it easy here. That would be a tremendous loss for Montague with less than 4 minutes left in the game. It was a good pass off the penetration into the middle there with Doug, And sometimes those shots look so easy from up here, but when you're just laying them up unobstructed,
That's right.
boy, you're just so anxious, and then sometimes that you get a little bit hurried, and I think that's what happens. That's what happened there with Brad.
Especially in pressure situations like you have here. And there's a good example of why Doug is very important to this squad. Even when he's not scoring, he's rebounding. He's had a little difficulty on the offense tonight, but so have all the Wildcats. Webb driving to the paint, back out on top to Lindquist. Cotter.
Very heady move.
Schlaff. Schneider, good ball control, nice movement by the Wildcats here. Schlaff on the inside. 3 minutes and 8 seconds left. Lindquist back out top to Webb.
I think you might see this for the last 3 minutes of the game.
Looks like it at this point, Dale.
They're not going to move it in unless they get the open shot.
Oh, another bad pass by Scott. Makes it 2:51 remaining with the Spartans controlling the ball.
Pressure is on Scottville to convert, though. They're going to have to make every possession count.
Indeed they are. But they've had a pretty good time doing that here this second half,
They
too.
did the same thing, threw the ball away.
Score remains 50-41. This is always a nerve-wracking offense for me, Dale. Another missed layup.
I don't know what it is, but that's about the second or third one we've missed.
Interesting comment. Just before you and I came up to the booth tonight, we were talking with a couple of fans on the sideline, and one of the fans asked me if we were going to shoot layups better tonight. Now I think we can answer that question. We haven't had an awful lot of success with them. And that's an important, all the shots are important, but certainly those, what you'd think would be high percentage close-in shots are especially
I
important.
think I heard somebody quite prophetic say a few minutes ago that maybe one of the reasons we were doing so well in the field goal percentage was because we get a lot of easy uncontested layups. Well, some of these shots we've been missing haven't been so easy, but they've been uncontested in some sense of the word at least. And we haven't gotten them down. But
well, I just can't help but remark once more about the defense of the Spartans tonight. Number one, the Wildcats haven't seen the zone all that many times this year, although they saw it at Hart, and I'm sure that Coach Tate practices somewhat against the zone with all his players, but the way it's been applied tonight has been exceptionally effective.
Well, I think they've been very well prepared for this game. They seem to know what Montague does very well and have tried to stay away from those tendencies. And they've given Montague everything that they want. And a lot of the reason for Montague not playing so well in the third and fourth quarter here is you have to credit Scottville.
If you think about it, Dale, we've only scored 13 points this entire second half. Wildcat ball.
I know, 13 points in about 14 minutes now. So, and I think we scored about 5 points in about 30 seconds when we were off the air. So,
Yeah, that's true.
it's down to 2 minutes now.
Eric Webb. Back to Scott. Oh, there they come
Now
out
they've
of
gone
the
to the
zone.
man-man. They've
Back to the
finally gone
man-to-man.
to it.
Back out on top, but now they're in the man-to-man. We're going to have a foul on Belahowski. Belahowski with the personal. But they're getting almost to the point where they have to do something like that. They have 1 minute 45 seconds left and a 9-point difference yet.
Oh, that's exactly right. And it really doesn't matter who they foul because 4 of the top 10 shooters in the league are out there now. And Doug Schlaff is 6th in the conference right now with a 75% accuracy rate, and he just made one. Is that his first shot at the line tonight?
No, I think
he's been there one other time.
was there one other time in the first half. And makes good on those two, making 11-point difference.
He's going to take Doug out, and I think the reason he's doing that is just Doug has 4 fouls, and I think that's a good tactical move. If they do to get it down to 6 or 5 or whatever with less than a minute, he can put Doug back in.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised, too, to see him put him back in if there's a dead ball before we get the offensive in.
I think there's a breakdown that time, Larry, on the left side of the Montague defense.
Webb
You don't want to
against
get too
Belahowski,
fancy with this kind of thing.
and that's why. Schneider saves it for the Wildcats.
Well, it didn't look pretty, but we got it done.
We got it back, that's right. No basket. I think we're going to have a foul on the outside before the shot. Foul on, is it number 42? I'm not sure who the foul was on. Yes, it was. Kevin Graham, his first personal, and Lindquist will be at the line. Wildcats lead by 9, 52-43 with 1:12 remaining. And this certainly hasn't been a pretty contest for the Cats, but if luck remains, we'll go in the W column anyway.
You call that win ugly.
That's true. That's true. At the end of the year, when you're 20-3 or 20-6 or whatever, or 19-6, yeah, you don't remember those as much. But good time for 2 free throws by Lindquist.
See how fast they move that ball up the left side.
Another block by Lindquist. Comes back across the timeline, but I think he's going to be fouled. I think that's his third block.
Yeah, you don't feel comfortable saying it, but I'll say it. Those are some of the best defensive moves that I've seen all in one basketball game. And Scott has gone up and blocked the shot, taken it away from him all in one motion. And I'm sure that's the third time that's happened tonight. And they're just fantastic plays.
Well, Dale, we're going to see something on the floor we haven't seen all night, and it's not real usual, but what is this?
This is what you call a technical foul. And it's, I'm not sure who got it, the bench or a player, but it's an automatic 2 free throws. And he's going to shoot some personal fouls, I believe. He's going to shoot a one-on-one.
I guess, no, we're going to have Brad Tate come in to shoot the technical.
I'm not sure why you do this, but I guess.
Well, I guess it makes no difference.
Don't ask me.
Well, I think probably we do it because Brad Tate is an 80% free throw shooter versus 70 for Scott Lindquist.
Well, that was a good move.
Yeah, right. The Scott had made 4 in a row, but yeah. Brad makes 2 in a row. It comes out all the same.
But who's
good call.
Yeah. There we go underneath.
Matt Connor takes the inbounds pass.
You can see how crucial that call was, because Montague had 4
Connor from Tate.
Call it 6 points on that possession.
Good observation, Dale. And it makes it a 16-point game. But you know, if it remains somewhat in this neighborhood, it'll never as close. No. Mark Schneider, the leading free throw shooter in the league, will now be at the line, looking to.
And now, as you said, we have the biggest point of the night. We're up to 17, 60-43, and yet a mere 2 or 3 minutes ago,
right.
Whatever it was.
Or less. I think it was a 6-point turnaround before
That's
there.
Right. That's right.
We have scored 23 points in the second half, and we've scored 19 of them in this quarter.
That's right.
As I recall. So, no, I guess it was not quite that much.
We've scored 18 in this quarter.
Yeah, okay.
So it turns around so fast. Doug Schloff is back in the game again, and that was going to keep away for the last 25 seconds.
25, as you say, and the foul is called on number 20, Chris Hatch. Chris Hatch with his first personal, I believe.
It's almost like, you know, they know they're getting close, and okay, now we're going to turn up the afterburners and put it away and get it over with.
They had us all worried there for a while tonight, Dale. The afterburners almost didn't burn at the right times and long enough.
But they had a lull there for, you know, we said 15, 16 minutes here that they didn't play very well.
Jamie Hooks and Lindquist going out of the contest with, Doug Schloff and Lindquist out of the contest with Jamie Hooks and Mark Pascavas in.
I'm sure Scottville's wondering, what do you have to do to win in here? Because you know, last year it was so close and they lost by a point, as hopefully most of the fans saw in the pregame. Won by 2, I guess it was last year.
63-61. However, I can remember when my older son was a junior, Scottville came down here and knocked us off on our own court.
Yes, they've been known to do that over the years. They've had a lot of good basketball teams up there.
Hatch from the left-hand side is good. 10 seconds remaining. 17-point lead. Another foul called on the Spartans. 6 seconds left, 62-45. Well, Dale, one of the things we've said even last year from time to time is that the Wildcats never quit, and it's a good thing they don't and they didn't, because here we are 6 seconds from another victory, pulling us to 8-1 overall. Brad Tate, good from the line.
Our kids are mentally tough. I don't think there's any question about it. They're very well coached. They know how to win. They know how to lose. And it's just kind of another workmanlike game for them tonight.
Outside, desperation
That's
shot.
the ball game.
Brings it to a close. Final score, Montague Wildcats 64, Mason County Central Spartans 45. Well, Dale, they put a scare into us, a real scare. And I'm sure that the Wildcats felt that scare all through the evening until maybe the last minute of the contest or so. And, you know, the Wildcats had a little off night, but a big part of the reason for that off night certainly was the strategy, the play, and the precision of the Mason County Central Spartans. They can go back home on that long ride. Takes about an hour to get back, I would say, on the bus from here, but they can go back with their heads held high. And I'm sure that Coach Sadasti will be telling them the same things.
Well, we mentioned in the intermission between the third and the fourth quarter that Montague didn't have a very good third quarter, and as it turned out, they opened it up to a 19-point lead, and they played awfully well the last 3-4 minutes of the ball game. But I think one thing we haven't mentioned tonight, and I think that probably was the key, we've mentioned it in the past, and that's how well we play defense. We held a team to 45 points. They only scored 8 points in the fourth quarter. And when the crunch time was there, our players came through in the defensive end, which so often opens up the offensive realm. And that was the turnaround. That was the ball game. That was the difference.
Absolutely, Dale. And you mentioned they held them to 45 for the season. The opponents are racing along at a clip of 51 points against the Wildcats. So it wasn't a freak thing.
No. And 6 points is a big difference. When you can hold a team 6 points under their average, that's a big turnaround.
You're absolutely correct. And I think it's important to observe here, Dale, that when we read the papers about these contests like we did yesterday morning, the Saturday morning paper, to see what's happening around the league, oftentimes we don't see a lot of time spent on defense. It's who scored that 16 points, who scored the 10th point, or who scored the winning bucket at the buzzer.
That's right.
But you know, throughout the contest, those defensive strategies are just as important and very critical to the overall success.
They don't show the number of steals that a player has or the number of rebounds that a player has in the stats in the paper. They may mention it on occasion as far as assists and steals and that kind of thing, rebounds. But as we mentioned tonight, Scott Lindquist, good example. 3 times he took the ball right away from a player while they were shooting, blocked shots, turned it into a steal, and created something on the offensive end. And those don't show up in the statistics. We remember them for a while at least, but those little things make the difference. And the little things made the difference tonight and ended up in a 19-point win for Montague.
Well, Dale, I think we're just going to close up shop up here in the booth and go down on the floor and see if Coach Tate and maybe Roger Finland, the high school principal, have some players for an interview for us, and perhaps we can comment with Coach Tate at the conclusion of that interview session. So let's go down to the courtside and see what we can find. Fans, we'll be right back after this pause. Welcome back, fans, to Montague High School. As you can see, we're down on the floor after the Wildcat victory over the visitors from Mason County Central. And with us tonight is a junior, Scott Lindquist, to my immediate left, and to his left, senior Eric Webb. Congratulations first, gentlemen, on a good victory tonight. You made it exciting, but it came out all right. Eric, what did it feel like to be kind of maybe having a little bit of an off night? You're a senior. Have you experienced those things before, or is this something that you were kind of worried about tonight?
Yeah, we were shooting really bad, and we were just trying to get good shots. And if we kept getting the good shots, we figured they would go in. And the third quarter there, they weren't going in, and we finally got a couple to fall in the fourth there.
Well, we remarked about that a couple of times, maybe several times during the game. That in the first half you had really good shot selection. And really in the third quarter you had good shot selection all the way through. It was just a matter of making the shot, and you didn't give up. And we noticed too how much the defensive end, some spectacular plays by Scott especially, helped turn that around.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, let's go to Scott
Let's go to
then.
Scott.
Dale mentioned you, Scott. I'm a little surprised. I think you had 4 blocks in the contest, and you've had some block shots before, but I'm not sure you've ever had 4 in one game in the past. Oftentimes we look at you as an outside guard. You shot several times from 3-point land tonight, but how does it feel to be down underneath and getting those blocks on the opponents?
Well, it feels good blocking the ball. I don't block the ball often, but when I do, I try to do as best I can. When the guards penetrate, you have to kind of drop back and watch the big guys because they can pass off and shoot it then.
Okay, well, whatever the strategy, it seemed to be working for you underneath there tonight, Scott. One of the things I also want to ask you about is the 3-point shot, or at least the outside shot. Let's not say necessarily just a 3-point shot, but the Spartans played exceptionally strong zone defense on you guys tonight. And did Coach Tate say anything to either you or Eric or others about continuing to shoot from the outside to try and pull them out of that zone?
When we first started the game, our intent was to get the ball inside, and that way they'd collapse their zone some, and then we would get outside shots. And he said if we're wide open for a 3, we can take it. And if it doesn't drop, it just doesn't drop for you, but keep on taking them.
Well, we remarked several times too about how surprised we were that didn't pull them out. They stayed in it until the last 2 minutes of the game, the last minute, I guess, before they came out to a man-to-man. Eric, I want to ask you quickly about how you give your body up so often to this game and the floor, and how you just keep coming back for more. Do you wake up on Saturday morning really aching at all?
Yeah, a couple times during the year I've woke up with a sore couple bones, and tonight I think I'm going to feel my face tomorrow.
Yeah, I know which call you're talking about. The last couple of minutes you had a charge called on you at least, and you hit your face on the opponent. But you have had no long-lasting effect. Negative.
No.
Okay.
Scott, let's go back to you for a second here. The thing that we commented on at the end of the game mostly was the defensive strategy that the Wildcats showed tonight, like they always show. And Mr. Schrader commented that you sometimes seem to have pretty good court sense. Is that something you think that you've worked on substantially over the course of the years that you've played ball, or is it something that you just kind of have naturally?
I think over the years I've acquired that sense. You can't just like pick it up. It has to come to you. And when it comes, it's really helpful.
Absolutely.
I'm interested in knowing your feelings and anticipation for, of course, Tuesday night. I suppose you guys know that you do play Whitehall Tuesday night. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. And, of course, I'm sure Coach Tate made sure you didn't look past tonight. There may have been a tendency to do that. What are you going to have to do to play at the very best of your game and to beat Whitehall?
I think they're going to play a zone. I think that because they're big, like Mason County, and I think we're going to have to look for the inside shot. Keep feeding it inside and get the high percentage shot and play our normal defense.
Will you run with it as fast as you can or as much as you can?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Eric, let me ask you, it seems like you go about 120 miles an hour 100% of the time. That must tire you out some. Is it important to have good bench strength to come in and relieve your situation perhaps as well as Scott's and others? What do you think about the bench of the Wildcats this year?
We got an extremely good bench. We got Brad Tate coming off the bench, and he just adds another dimension to the team. And for our big guys, Mark Snyder comes in and relieves Matt and Doug. And it's just great to know that you have that extra dimension to your team.
How do you think the team is progressing? Now, this is the 9th game of the year. Okay, you're at the midpoint way of the season. As you look back the first 9 games now and to the point where you're at now, what things do you think you've progressed in doing quite well, and where are some areas that you think you need to continue to improve? I'm going to ask Scott that first.
Our offensive skills have improved, especially over this last week. But over all these games, our offensive end has improved a lot. Our shots have been starting to fall last couple of games, and our defense has really picked up too. So,
Scott, I want to ask you a follow-up to that. You talked about defense picking up. We thought the Spartans did an exceptionally fine job with the zone defense that they threw at you tonight. How did that influence the game tonight? Was it more difficult for you guys to work your offensive strategy, do you think?
yeah, definitely. They were real aggressive on their zone defense. we were trying to get the ball in, but they're all over the post inside there, so we had to settle for the outside shot, which we did, and they fell for us.
Does it matter at all that the routine is a little bit different on a day like today, where you've only had a half day of school? There were exams this morning, and so you're out at noon. Does that have anything to play at all in how you play at night?
You try not to let it affect you, but sometimes you just can't help it, and it does affect you a little. But I think we prepared ourselves well for this game, and we came out and we did what we needed to do to win.
I'd like to ask you one more question here, and either of you can answer it. I don't really care. When we picked up the paper yesterday morning, this is Sunday night now, remember, okay? When we picked up the yesterday morning, we saw the Wildcats with an 18-point victory. I believe it was 63-45. And, you know, it really wasn't an 18-point game. What turned it around late in the fourth quarter? What was said to you in the huddle, or what do you think what chemistry between you as team members turned the game around? Let's let both of you comment on it. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I think part of it was our defense. I thought our defense really picked up in that end of the fourth quarter, which gave us some turnovers. We got steals and got some layups on the other end.
I definitely think it was the defense when Mark Schneider stole the ball and made a layup. And then the next play, Scott stole it in the corner. And that was just right there, I think, their momentum changed in the game.
Okay, well, gentlemen, we certainly appreciate you coming on the air with us tonight. And we want to wish you the best of luck Tuesday against the Whitehall Vikings and, of course, for the remainder of your season as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Good luck.
You
Good
bet.
game, Scott.
See you now.
Yep.
Well, Dale, I think we'll try to get Coach Tate in here. Boys, Scott and Eric, can you get Coach Tate over here for us, please? Coach Tate, I'm not going to let him escape because I'm interested to see what he'll say about tonight's game.
Some hard questions.
That's right. I think it's important to note that Coach Tate, you said during the broadcast, was a good strategist, a good coach, and certainly a mark of a good coach is to employ different strategies against different things that they encounter on the floor, and that we saw Coach Tate do that tonight. Took some important timeouts to talk to his squad, and I think that is a remarkable thing to be able to be in such a pressure situation and yet so cold to know what to do.
That's why 7-point leads turn into 19-point leads.
You're absolutely right. Here he comes now. Congratulations, Coach Tate.
Jim.
How many years do you think you aged tonight?
I don't know. I'm quite relieved, though.
Well, Coach Tate, we commented several times in the booth and with the two young men we just interviewed, too, about the defensive game that the Scottville team played tonight. We thought it was exceptionally strong and very effective against your offense. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, they played kind of a 3-2 zone, and sometimes it was kind of flat, and it looks like there's holes all over the place, but it seemed like every time we'd get it in a hole, somebody 6'5" would come up and close the hole off. And it doesn't matter where you put people on the floor against zones, it's still going to come down to can you hit an open 15-foot shot and can you offensive rebound. And we didn't have a real good night offensive rebounding, and in the third quarter we had a horrible second half shooting the ball. I think we were 5 for 24 in the second half. But I called a timeout. I think we were up, 7 or 5 or something like that, and I could feel the momentum shifting a little bit, and I decided maybe 1 or 2 more possessions, and we were going to see if they'd come out and play man-to-man, and they refused to come out and play man-to-man, but they did come out far enough that it opened some holes up and we could make some plays, and then I thought the difference in the game was in the fourth quarter. For about 2 minutes, Scott Lindquist went down and had a couple of block shots and stripped guys a couple of times for steals, and we got running a little bit and got some layups, and it was the only easy baskets we really had in the second half. It's probably the only baskets we had in the second half were those ones in transition. But our kids kept playing defense, which kept us in there, and that's a good basketball team. I don't care what their record is. I can see why they beat Whitehall the other night, and we have to play up there the last game of the year, and I hope that's for the championship for our kids, and if it is, that's going to be one difficult game.
Well, we talk about how well they played defense, but certainly you guys played one heck of a defensive game, too. You only allowed 8 points, I think it was, in the fourth quarter, and you really turned it up a notch when you had to, and that made the difference. As you look forward to Tuesday night, Jim, did you have a tough time, you think, getting the kids not to look ahead of this game to Tuesday night, or wasn't that really too much of a factor?
No, I don't think it was a factor at all. I think what was a factor was that Mason County came in and played real well, and we knew they were going to, and it got in a situation where we had to shoot jump shots, and if they go in, we look like $1 million, and if they don't, we look terrible. People are going to go out of here thinking we didn't play so good. I thought we played okay, but we just didn't shoot the ball very well, and I always separate the two. If you can do a lot of things well in basketball, and if you don't shoot it in, you look horrible. And in other nights, you can just do 500 things wrong, and if it goes in, everybody says, "Wow, what a team!" And we had trouble shooting the ball tonight and didn't look very good, but I give Mason County a lot of credit for that.
Coach Day, I think if we looked at your offensive statistics versus your defensive points per game average against you, you're somewhat like 22 points ahead of your opponents for the season, yet oftentimes you've had some offensive difficulty, at least for streaks in the game. Why are we so far ahead in the balance of scoring with those poor streaks?
Well, the closest game that we've had, of course, was the loss to Shelby by 1 point, and then the other one was 15-point win at Hart. And then we've had a couple of games where, well, for example, with Pentwater the other night, I think it was like, I don't know, 40 points or something like that, which makes a big difference. But the only statistic that our kids really care about is whether we win or whether we lose. And we did enough of the good things at the right times tonight, running our spread and trap offense out a little bit high. And we had Doug and Eric really sat out probably 10 or 12 minutes of the game each tonight in foul trouble, which hurt our effectiveness too. And I always worry about how we're going to come out and shoot in the third quarter, and I think my worrying was contagious tonight because we were awful shooting it in the third quarter and let them get right back into the ball game. And we talk all the time about not letting them get back in and really being aggressive to start the second half, and just couldn't get anything in. Scott had a couple of wide open shots to start the third quarter, real good shots, didn't go in the basket, which could have turned the balance for us the other way. But I was real tickled with the way that we played when the game was on the line.
Let's talk just a little bit about Tuesday night coming up, which will be the day after tomorrow.
Who do we
be on Sunday night?
Oh yeah, we play Whitehall that night.
What are some things that you're going to be concentrating on in practice tomorrow night?
Well, I know Coach Griffin feels real comfortable playing in a zone, and we're going to see the zone again. Be probably a little bit different alignment than what Mason County played, but we're going to work on the same stuff that we work on all the time, and we'll spend probably 2/3 of our practice on defense on Monday night. Because of a home volleyball game, we only have an hour and 15 minutes to practice, but that's okay. By this point in the season anyway, I'm worried about keeping their legs fresh and keeping them mentally fresh, and we don't need anything to get real excited about playing on Tuesday night. So
Is that a disadvantage to have to play at Whitehall the first game of your meeting?
No, I think it's a great advantage for us. If we happen to win over there, then we're in the driver's seat, and if we lose over there, then they've still got to come back in our building and beat us later. So.
Coach Tay, I'd like you to comment for a minute on how the Spartans handled Doug Schlaff tonight. He certainly was a valuable asset to the team in rebounding, et cetera, and he scored some points, but we thought they did an excellent job holding his offensive capabilities down some tonight.
There's a couple of things about Doug. One, I think you have to understand nobody has sacrificed more for this team than Doug has, because he's a natural outside player. He's going to be what they call in college a number 2 guard when he goes to college. He's a great three-point shooter and a good outside ball handler, and movement and quickness are his assets. And because of he's by far the biggest player we have. He plays with his back to the basket inside, which is totally foreign to him this year. He never complains, and he doesn't have the physical strength and body size to really bang with the big guys that Mason County had. And they were nudging him and bumping him just a little bit, which happens, and that's enough to throw a slender kid like Doug off balance. But Doug created some of his own problems by not completely squaring up when he got the ball inside and by rushing it a little bit. But I attribute that more to the fact that he's playing out of position than anything else. Doug Schlaff could go 0 for 50 for me, and he'll be one of my all-time players forever. I'll tell you that.
Coach Tate, I have one other question I want to ask you before we sign off here. It's really a part of a question, a comment, and then a compliment as well. Dale and I worked the game from the booth tonight, and the fans, I'm sure, are thinking they have some good statistics here tonight, and that's all because of you. Not only do you keep track of the Montague Wildcat statistics on a game-by-game basis, but on a weekly basis you've been compiling the entire league statistics, and you've done just an excellent job, and I wish to compliment you on that, first of all.
Well, thank you. I did that for years when I was at Shelby, and I think it's the other coaches kind of got lazy and said, well, you know, he'll do it, and they were right, I would do it. So it's just one more thing that I really don't need to do that I end up doing. So
I also wanted to comment that in many categories tonight we had 3 to 5 of the leading players in the entire league on this court. In field goal percentage, I know we had 5 of the top players. In steals, we had 3 of the top players, Webb and Lindquist of Montague, and Dumas, is it, from Scottville. What does that say about the overall talent in the league in terms of the statistics that you compile every week? Do we have some good players overall?
Oh, we sure do. I was talking with Wally Sadasti, Mason County's coach, before the game, and he coached for years at Ludington, and he's been in the Seaway Conference and associated with the Seaway for years, and he loves the West Michigan. He thinks it's tremendously competitive, and even, you know, when you have a game that the fans think you should win, the kids in our league compete so hard against each other that there's no such thing as a sure victory anywhere. And the talent of kids today, I'm so impressed with how kids can score and defend and rebound. And our statistics in the conference are spread out. If you take a look in almost all the categories, it seems like there's somebody from every league school in almost every category. We have quite a few kids in free throw shooting and steals, but Mason County Central has a lot in free throw shooting, and Shelby has a lot in points per game and rebounding and assists, and it just seems to be kind of spread out all over.
Believe it or not, we do have 4 of the top 10 field goal percentage shooters too.
Believe it or not.
Even though in the third quarter you wouldn't have thought so.
Right.
Well, Coach Tate, we thank you for joining us tonight, and on behalf of our broadcast team here, we wish you the best of luck against Whitehall on Tuesday night and for the remainder of the season.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hope the ball goes in the hole for us.
Good luck.
Coach Tate commenting on tonight's victory against the Mason County Central Spartans, a hard-fought, hard-earned victory, but one that goes in the W column for the Wildcats. Dale, if they came back strongly against the Spartans, as we saw, certainly they can come back against any team, and I think that's an important asset for our club.
Well, as we've said so often, Larry, this is the type of team that never lets up. They never give up, even though the ball may not be going in the hole, as Jim said. There's so many other parts of the game that they do so well and they keep playing hard at that eventually good things do happen. And they ended the game on a very high note tonight, and I think that's the way they'll go into the Tuesday night game with Whitehall.
Okay, well, fans, I think that'll just about do it from the floor of Montague High School, where once again the Wildcats emerged victorious by a score of 63-45 over the Mason County Central Spartans. We want to take a moment to thank Mr. Steve Jones and the staff of CTEC Cable TV, Channel 5, for allowing us the airtime to broadcast this game, and we'll be on the air for several other contests and some volleyball and wrestling throughout the rest of this winter season. So thanks for joining us. Until next time, this is Larry Lindquist, along with
Dale Schrader,
saying good night from Montague High School.